is your grid then for Laguna Seca. So after qualifying, Mental Nev stuck in on pole in a Toyota Super. A great result for Nev. TC Idle, another good result for TC Idle in the Peugeot. Very good pace in that car today, just keep an eye on it. Sweaty Keg in the Aston Martin lines up P3. P4 is myself in the Nissan. Should get a good launch though. Rowdy Burns, P5 for him in the Hyundai in number 58. P6 Marshall, another car that will get an absolute launch of a start. Keep an eye on Marshall from the get-go. Iwan in the Dodge Viper lines up just behind the Subaru. With C Trickle in the other Hyundai just behind him. CJW-Racing in the other Viper. With Surfer in the first of the McLarens. The McLarens didn't qualify well here, but they may do quite well in the race. James Harben really struggled overall tonight. He'll be looking for a good result. Infinity Decals, aka Dave. First race on the wheel for Dave, so he'll be getting used to that throughout the race. Jihad in the other Subaru, and Ice Chand will bring up the back of the field. Now onto the race. Stay tuned to the end for a special lap as well. So welcome everybody then to the Infinity GT Manufacturers Series. You've seen the grid, now it's time for the race. This is 50 minutes of Laguna Seca in the GT4 machinery. Let's get this show on the road. It's about to get pretty loud. As the revs rise, ready for the lights to go out. You can't really see much from this camera angle, but we're away. Mental Nev gets a poor start, but you can see Sweaty Keg and myself get absolute flyers. We are up already. I'm challenging Nev for that inside line. Rowdy Burns is on the outside, but the Nissan's just about going to get there on the inside. Credit to Nev though, he gives me absolutely tons of room. And up I go into P2, a little bit further on down the field. TC Idle then. Bad start in that Peugeot. The FF do get away slowly. He's down to P5. The Viper up to P7. We've got Marshall running the Viper up to P6. Marshall's down P7. The other Viper is CJW-Racing in P8, Jihad P9, and James Harben there down in P11 with Infinity Decals and Toro Moto down in P13. It's his first race on the wheel today, hence the L plate on the back. Meanwhile, at the top of the field, Sweaty Keg in the Aston Martin managed to get away up front nice and early. He likes to lead the race from the front, so there he is. He will now set the pace for everyone else to follow. Myself and the Nissan just trying to use the slipstream to save a little bit of fuel. First outing for me in the Group 4. I did miss the first Group 4 race because I was too busy eating steak. I've got Rowdy Burns all over my back end now, and the Hyundai, or the hot point as we call it. A little bit of glitching you see from him there, but that is just an internet connection issue, and he's trying to get past into that P2 spot. Mental Nev as well, putting a little bit of pressure on. You can see there in Rowdy Burns' mirror. Mental Nev, who had that poor start, now down in P4, having a little bit of pressure put on him by the Peugeot then. So the Peugeot, as you've probably already seen, running a special livery today. Being chased down by Marshall in the Adrian Flux Subaru. Let's have a little bit of a cap through the field now onto the second lap. We've got Iwan in the Dodge Viper, he's P7. Jihad in the other Subaru P8, CJW-Racing P9, James Harben up to P10 then. He's managed to get himself past C Trickle in the hot point. Infinity Decals P12, Ice Champ P13, Surf Rev P14. Surf was caught up in a lap 1 incident that he just got himself caught up in. The top 4, 5, 6, the actual order hasn't changed at the top. It's turned into a little bit of a slipstream train, this Laguna Seca. You don't want to burn your tyres out too soon, so a lot of people are just taking it very cautiously on the opening few laps. You don't want to scrub those tyres while they're new. You will just accelerate that tyre wear. Everyone negotiating the corkscrew quite nicely. No car's had a major issue there, to be fair. The major issues were all in sort of like turns 4 and 5, I think they were, where cars were sort of prone to a little bit of understeer. Meanwhile, we see Mental Nev in the Supra. He is going for a move on Rowdy Burns. He's going to have tuck into the slipstream. You can even he's short shifting a little bit in that car. Does he go for it down into T1? He pokes his nose out and has a look, but Rowdy Burns late enough on the brakes so that move isn't doable. Marshall there went deep though, picks up a little penalty as well. So Marshall's going to have to try and burn that in the next couple of laps. TC Idle's lost places and he's down to P6. He's had a slow moment somewhere. The Vipers actually seem to go quite well around here, especially in early pace. They were setting good times in practice. James Harmon then just going a little bit wide. As we see there, SimFx was going for a look on Jihad. Didn't actually manage to get that move made. Can we flick through the field further up? Marshall's still got his penalty. It's very congested here between 3rd, 4th and 5th, as Mental Nev's managed now to get up into that P3 spot, and he's going to be chasing me down. At the minute I'm just keeping in sweaty keg slipstream, a lot of lifting and coasting, a lot of short shifting. I was not revving the car out. This car had a lot faster times in it. Just wasn't extracting those times in race pace. You definitely don't want to be doing that. You will kill your tyres. So the top guys managing to sort of get away ever so slightly. Rowdy Burns hanging on in there for the time being. Marshall's doing really well up in P5. He is one of the only cars that started on the soft tyre. Most drivers opting for the medium. The medium, which offers you, I think, a little bit more of a strategic choice. With the softs, you're definitely tied into sort of like a short 20-minute stint. With the mediums, you can kind of do any. So Marshall at the minute is going to want to use his tyre advantage and try and get himself past Rowdy Burns as soon as possible, really. TC Idle and that FF car again, another one that needs to get a move on early doors because his tyres will be the first to fade. Who else is making moves? So James Harmon looks like he might be making a move on SimFx. He's certainly very close behind that Viper, but the Corvette does struggle here, so he might struggle to make a move. What's happened to Infinity Decals? See Trickles all the way down the back as well. See Trickles right down here, 145 last time out. So see Trickles had some incident somewhere. Infinity Decals, he's the first time on the wheel. I might have mentioned that. So we might have seen backwards more than forwards. Surfer just trying to rescue his race from what happened off the start. And James Harmon going for a look on SimFx. Not quite in a position to make that move happen, so he backs off for the time being. And Marshall now really close to the back of Rowdy Burns, but that's super as he sets the fastest lap of the race, 28.5 for Marshall. Trying to get onto the back of Rowdy. See, we 2nd to sort of 5th is all really tightly closed up. None of us are really committing too much to it. I'm certainly just trying to manage my pace. The Nissan though just sort of felt a little bit unpredictable. So one sort of corner after another, the grip levels just felt a little bit different. It was odd. Maybe that was more down to my driving than anything else, but at the minute in time, Sweaty Keg leading away from the front. He's just managing his pace now. That Aston Martin does like to eat its front tyres, and that's something he was finding out in practice as well. That the front tyres really don't last on that. While he's out in front though, and he's got no one directly challenging him, he can manage the pace however he likes, so that'll only play to his advantage. South P2 starting to come under a little bit of pressure now, so this won't help me. That means said Laguna Seca, of course, you can quite easily defend that. So I'm going to be trying to defend to these guys. Marshall then pretty much pushing Rowdy Burns around the circuit. Rowdy Burns is glitching, starting to probably become an issue. It's quite hard to predict where his car is. From corner to corner it differs. You can see all this really closing up now. 4 cars within milliseconds of each other almost, as we head down to turn, what is officially turn 2. Mental Nev goes for the extreme inside on Rowdy Burns. Really late on the brakes there, the Toyota nearly actually hits me. I think he does actually collide with Rowdy Burns a little bit and picks up a little bit of a penalty, but he is through. Let's go and have a quick look at what happened. Oh yeah, it was just a little bit of a collision on the apex. Nothing too epic, but Rowdy Burns there. Again, that might be down to glitching, I don't really know. Rowdy Burns down to P4. He's going to start coming under pressure from Marshall then. Marshall, the guy in the ascendancy at the minute, he's the one with the tyre advantage, needs to push this home. Everyone now starting to build a gap to TC Idle. He's coming under pressure from Ibwen in the Dodge Viper. TCI, although at the minute it does look like he's severely managing his pace and just backing off a little bit. Jihad has got the other Dodge Viper for company. James Harman trying to keep in line with those guys. He's got Ice Chan behind him as well, trying to put some pressure on. Surferev's caught up to these guys now. Sea Trickle quite a way back. Infinity Decals has been in the pits for new tyres already, so quite early on for new tyres. That fighting behind has let me escape a little bit. I'm just trying to keep in Sweaty Keg slipstream. Just hopeful I can keep in line with that Aston Martin, but it was proving to actually have really good race pace, the Aston Martin, so keeping behind it was actually proving to be an issue. I've not got Marshall on soft tyres right behind me, so as long as he can defend from Rowdy Burns, Marshall might be an issue coming into the later stages of the race. Nice move there by Rowdy Burns though to get that move made, but can Marshall get the switch back? The Subaru's got exceptional lateral grip, so he does actually get that move made. Lovely driving there by Marshall, nice defensive driving, almost let Rowdy Burns have the apex. Knowing that the switchback was always a possibility. Mental Nev, then P5. TCR does begin to catch up to these guys. So TCR does just set his fastest lap of the race at 29.0. He can now start reeling us all in, because we of course are all just backing off a little bit. We're slowing each other down almost. And Sweaty Keg, as we go halfway through lap 7, just starting to break away now a little bit. Join me then on lap 9 as Marshall's really trying to push home his fresh tyre advantage. Say fresh tyres, I mean soft tyre advantage. He's on the grippiest of tyres in one of the grippiest cars. He's just chasing me down. I'm running mediums in the GTR. So my apex speeds are going to be a little bit lower. I've got a little bit less grip. The Subaru making a genuine campaign here for P2 in the running. Just breaking down towards the corkscrew. A nice view of the Subaru plunging down the corkscrew, which in height is about 3 stories. I don't know what that converts to in feet, inches, meters, whatever, however you look at it. But the Subaru, as you can see, as you can look at Rowdy Burns and Mental Nev, a little bit of battle. The Subaru goes off-roading, it's quite well suited to it. Gets on the brakes nicely, does Marshall there, gathers that up quite quickly as we go to start another lap. We just see TC Idle in the background there, just running in to get rid of those medium tyres after 9 laps then. There's a bit of a recap. Sweaty Keg still leading the way. I'm just about in slipstream range to the Aston Martin. Just behind me, the Marshall in the Subaru doing a great job on that fastest lap of the race as well. 28.0 so far. Rowdy Burns in the hot point. Number 58 just trying to keep in touch with the Subaru up ahead while trying to stave off the attentions of championship leader Mental Nev. The Subaru trying to recover from a bad start. A little bit further back, Ibwen in the Viper, sort of in a race of his own now. A lot of cars behind him have stopped. Sayrexic, I don't think he has stopped, just has fallen behind it in pace. James Harman had a visit to the wall a couple of laps ago. Sea Trickle, we know, had some sort of incident early on. TC Idle has pitted. The pits here cost you at least 20 seconds. So it's a big time you spend in the pits. Ice Chan's finding that out right now. He's just coming out of the pits as well, and Infinity Decals, who's getting used to the wheel and is spending a lot of time backwards. He's P14 as we speak. Oh, we've got some action behind then. So we'll just jump on board with the back end of my car again. You can see that Marshall's going for a move around the outside of me. Rowdy Burns really closing up behind us all. And Mental Nev as well making a campaign. So at this point, Marshall got a nose inside. I then couldn't defend. He got a really good exit and I couldn't defend in time, so Marshall's down the inside of me. I may put one off on the outside. I do give it a shot. Can Marshall get me on the inside? No, just about missed to hold that in the GTR. That was hard work there. As Marshall, the Subaru, has got really good pace at this stage. My tyres and fall off the cliff. About like 10-11. Now it's the heat cycle of the tyres, and nice. It's Mental them behind, try and get a move made on Rowdy Burns. Is he going to try around the outside? I don't think he's going to be able to do it. No, back. And everyone in the top 5 then really breaking our way now. Let's have a look at the gap then. So the gap between 5th and 6th is nearly 10 seconds as we see Marshall have to give Rowdy Burns the place. Marshall, don't know if he backed off there or what, but Marshall now down to P4. Rowdy Burns released. Protect GTR, the big boy. That is trying with all its might to defend against this horde of cars. We see Marshall peel off into the pits and he's going to get rid of them softs. I think in all fairness, those softs after 10 laps would have just fallen off the edge of a cliff, so he's going to come in and get rid of those, probably go into the medium tyres. I'd love to say that gives me some breathing room, but it doesn't. I've got Rowdy Burns all over me. Stage was to go as close to 30 as possible on these tyres, which isn't easy to do, so I'm going to try and do, I think it's 16-17 laps on them. Can't remember how long that works out to me, but we'll find out during the race. That's the great thing about doing this live. Seems like he's quite he just sacked someone's stream, I think, at the minute, because he does it. The body language of that car isn't all that aggressive, so I think he's just quite happy where he is. Then we got Iburn P5, quite a way down behind us guys, but managing a really good pace all the same. Teammate CJW-Racing not too far behind him. C-Trickle in the hot point. James Harbin actually having a little bit of a battle with TC Idol. TC Idol's going to be on fresher tyres though. James Harbin in the vets probably not going to have much of a fight against this, but can use the FF car for a few laps just to gain a bit of advantage. Marshall, who's now on softer tyre, not on fresher tyres, so he'll be on the medium now, so he'll probably notice a little bit of a pace drop off. And the McLarens, before going into this, would have potentially a better shout at it than they did. I think they were a bit doomed from the start though. They were involved in incidents from the start of the Lemon and Line team, which kind of set them back, but they were doing 29s, so the pace was there. Meanwhile then, Sweaty Keg, as Rowdy Burns has actually got past me. This is where I start to fall off a cliff. Sweaty Keg's leading the way. Really consistent pace here by Dave. Pretty much solid 29s all the way through. Rowdy Burns after getting past me. He's in the 29s as well. Myself got a really bad exit there. Mental Nev's going to get a run on me. I'm going to be able to defend that. I go deep here. I remember this happening in race. I ended up going quite deep. I managed to give Nev the space though, but it was a bit hit and miss whether there'd be contact between us. Nev's going to have to just hang on for the time being. You can't really overtake at the corkscrew. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. It's probably the way it works. So Nev for the time being does back off me. There's other places that Subaru can make a move. For the time being, it's just going to have to stay in my slipstream. Picks up a little bit of a penalty there for a minor track infringement. Decides to serve it straight away. Just captures the grass on the outside there a little bit. And that car you see flying past him there is Infinity Decals, who is being lapped actually at this stage of the race with a back marker, but that Aston Martin on the straights is still quite an issue. Blue flags there coming out for Infinity Decals, so for the time being my bacon has been saved, but Mental Nev will be back with a vengeance, you can be assured of that. So we're back on board with the Supra then of Mental Nev. He's caught back up to the back of me. My tyres at this minute in time were absolutely ditched, and run a little bit wide here. Just loses me enough speed, dirts my tyres enough that this is an easy move for Nev to make. I do still give it a little bit of a fight, but dirty tyres mean I go deep. Nev gets a lovely switch back on me. Move made up to P3 for the championship leader. So a nice move there by Nev to get that done. I can use his toe for a little bit, hopefully save a little bit more fuel. I wasn't too angry at that. I was kind of expecting it to happen at some point. Nev had really good pace. I was losing confidence in the tyres as the laps went on. now, he can probably help me get my strategy to work a little bit more by just helping me save a little bit of fuel. So we'll see how that works out. TC Idol has made his way back through the pack then. He's now on fresh rubber, and after setting a 27.3 in race trim, he's now romping back through the field, but he's on a multiple stop strategy, so he's going to lose yet more time in the pit stops. SimFx starting to come under pressure from C-Trickle, who's been another driver fighting through the field as he comes into the pit, so he's going to lose a gallon of time. Marshall's going to pick up a couple of positions here, so back up to a P6 for Marshall. James Harbin might benefit from these guys pitting as well. I think he was trying to go long into the race, just the Corvette doesn't hold its tyres that well though. So we'll see how that works out for him long term. So the car's coming out of the pits now. Lots of different strategies going on here. Some drivers attempting the one stop. I know that's what me, Sweaty and Mental were trying to do. We wanted the one stop, knowing the fact that you lose 20 seconds in the pits. Just, you couldn't make that time back up in a stint. So it made sense to suffer the pain during the first stint and then just try and have a relatively quick stint too. It just did. It was risky because your tyres were that shattered. The mistakes were very easy, as I proved. So one man trying the different strategy than TC Idol, but the Peugeot, without a doubt, probably going to be able to lap quicker than anyone else here. So that might actually work for him. One of the only cars that could work for, as he really takes advantage of track limits there. TC Idol is going to get a little bit of a penalty for that, but that'll get served, no doubt at all. So we are about 20, yeah, we're just hitting 28 minutes and all drivers have pitted except for myself, so I think this is a lap I pit. I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark that this is the one I pit on. We'll find out in just a minute though. So this is playing, this bit is playing into my hands, so the fact that I've been able to extend my stint pretty much the furthest out of everyone helped me. And certainly will help me with a little bit of a tyre advantage at the end. So yeah, I'm coming into the pits now. So lap 19, TC Idol's going to assume the lead of the race. Obviously he pitted a little while ago. He's on soft, so he's lapping in pretty damn fast now. I'll be in the pits for a while because I need to pretty much put a full tank in there. Right, so that's TC Idol up to the lead of the race. Sweaty Keg is going to join him up to P2. So he was in not long ago. In fact, he came in last lap actually. So that will be then Rowdy Burns P2. Rowdy's on a different strategy to us altogether. He pitted lap 15, so about 5 laps ago now. And then Surfer Ev, who pitted very early on in the race, so he's probably getting ready for another stop. I'd imagine he will be back in again pretty soon. Can't remember where I fell out in this one. I'm in P5 at the minute as the halfway mark, the half hour mark approaches. Mental Nev P6. He's not long since been in the pits himself, so I think he's on the softs now. I come out in P7 behind Mental Nev and ahead of Chand. Chand again in the Lemon and Lime team. They pitted quite early on. So I think they pitted like lap 10, something like that, if not maybe a little bit earlier. C-Trickle, a driver who, in that 5 laps into his stints, will have nice and warm soft tyres. He should be able to make this pass on Chan quite easy. Chan will be on quite warm tyres now. SimFx, who came in a couple of laps ago, so he's trying to make up space again. But you can see just how much time the pits lose you here. You lose an absolute acre of time. TC Idol's pitting from the lead then, so Sweaty Kegs are going to assume the lead. He's going to have Rowdy Burns for company. Dave will have slightly fresher tyres though at the front. You just see the little glitching that's happening with Rowdy Burns from time to time. Surfer, P3 for Surfer. I'm running Nev. This is for race position, but they're kind of running different strategies, so they could do without fighting. Mental Nev could do with this being quite an easy pass, a 28.9 that time around for Nev, so he's starting to get some temperature into those tyres and running slightly faster times. I've been ahead in the 28s, 29s as well, so Iburn's not slow. So this might not be all that easy for Mental Nev if Iburn decides to put up a bit of a fight against him. Will help me out, of course. I'm now out on fresh soft tyres, but importantly, I guess the same with the other one-stop guys, I don't want to absolutely murder these tyres early doors. I will have Sea Trickle chasing me down through this stint and TC Idle as well. Battle for the lead then. We got Sweaty Keg in the Aston Martin and Rowdy Burns in the Hyundai. Rowdy Burns, I think, yeah, he's just sitting behind him. You heard him really early change up to 6th then. Sweaty Keg defends it nonetheless, but I think Rowdy Burns is just using this opportunity behind the Aston Martin just to save some more of that motion lotion. He's quite happy there by the looks of it. Mental Nev did get past Iburn. Might have just caught it out at the end of the last clip. Mental Nev now starting to break away. P3 for him at the minute. I don't think he's going to stop again. We'll see. That car you can see going backwards there is his Infinity Decals again. He's just going to stop there and let us all past. And he's going to resume on his way again. TC Idle, definitely someone to watch, setting purple sectors this late on in the race. He's going for it. He's already the owner of the fastest lap. He's in that Peugeot, which anyone that plays this game knows is an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. It's going to be very hard to keep up with that while he can keep the tyres in their window. Days gone bad to worse for James Harbin. I think he's treating this as a little bit of a damage limitation exercise, sort of not the Corvette's strongest track, this one. We know the Americans don't build cars to go around corners, and this car's proof of it. It really doesn't look after its tyres at all, and that's just down to the suspension dynamics of that car. Another one having a bit of a day to forget is Infinity Decals. Credit to him, mate. It's literally made the switch to the wheel on the day of the race, and that transition is not an easy one as he's getting lapped there by one of the Adrian Flux Subarus, but he kept at it. Used it as some experience. Let's check up on the battle for the lead then. Still Sweaty Keg leading away from Rowdy Burns. Quite happy to sit there, as we said before. I'm now coming up to the back of the Viper. I do remember this bit of the race. Trying to chase down Iburn, who was on a contra strategy to me. I don't think he put up too much of a fight with Mental Nev. So when I was coming up to him as well, I don't think he put up too much of a fight with me. He knew he wasn't directly racing me at this point in the race either. TC Idle chomping away at the lap times. I had 27.4 last time out, so a great lap from him. So I've got onto the back of Iburn now. A little bit of a light flash. That was to acknowledge him basically signalling to let me by. So thanks for that, Iburn. Was appreciated. You see, he gets out of the way to let me go. Time of the video, I'll give a special little shout out to the designer of my livery. So this livery here that I'm running, designed by 8-year-old Logan Luke. Designed both my cars that I'll be running throughout the entirety of the championship. So again, really appreciate your work. Better artistic design than I can fathom for sure. And it has received some rave reviews as well, so keep up the good work, Logan. I appreciate that, and thank you for stopping by and watching the videos as well. Meanwhile, there was a little bit of a battle kicking off between Sweaty Keg and Rowdy Burns. Oh, that's come to a dramatic end there, as the dishwasher has gone into full spin cycle, and yeah, he's just gone a little bit too late and gone agricultural. You can see kicking up all the gravel there. So that unfortunately is going to give Mental Nev P2. I think I'm a little bit too far back to take advantage. Yeah, I was just about come. Yeah, there I am. So too far back to take advantage of that happening. But that's going to release the Supra. Get your cars right, Chris. It's going to release the Supra driver directly into the path of the Aston Martin then. So we've got about 15 minutes left of this one, so this could get tasty towards the end. Mental Nev's running mid-28s, Dave mid-29s. So there's about a second in it between these guys. So let's have a look at the split time. So a 5-second gap and 15 minutes left to go in the race. Rowdy Burns pre-free for Rowdy, but we think he's gonna have to stop again. looking at when he last stopped. He might have to come in again. Myself P4. Being chased down though by the Peugeot of TC Idol, who is absolutely ripping through the times at the minute. C Trickle, a good recovery from C Trickle at this stage. He was pretty much down and out right at the start of the race, but has just kept his nose clean ever since. And C Trickle, who shout out all the thumbnails that you've seen in the video so far from pictures that he's took post race. So he's got a good artistic eye, and all the photos that you see in the thumbnails of the videos on YouTube for this series have been taken by him so far. Good race for the Vipers as well. Those guys seem to be going quite well. Marshall P8, but I think he's done his stops now, so he might be going to the end. And Surfer Rev now just starting to get into the rhythm of the track. Interesting to see if these guys start having a battle. Sweaty Keg, Mental Nev, that could go places. Rowdy Burns P3, like I said, I think he has to stop again. And TC Idol is coming ever closer to the back of my car, you know. That Peugeot's definitely got the pace. Yeah, so he's got a definite visual gap on me. The top 5 at this stage were quite a way away from everyone else, so we're really starting to break away now. Just 12 minutes left to go over this race. The gap between the top 2 now, just over a second then. We've got 8 minutes remaining in this one, yeah, so a lot of time to go. And Sweaty Keg's going to have his work cut out if he wants to keep Mental Nev behind him. Another one in a bit of a worrying defensive battle myself, running P3, but the Peugeot of TC Idol has been reeling me in by about 4 or 5 attempts a lap so far. My tyres just getting worse and worse as the laps go on. I've done about 10 laps on these tyres now, so they are going to start to fall off the cliff any minute. And TC Idol now in prime position to pick up or to fight for another podium. Good result for Marshall so far, P5 for Marshall. Not sure if he's going to have to pit again yet though. Rowdy Burns is hoping he does. Keep an eye on this battle for P1 though. Mental Nev now right on the back. Yeah, Mental Nev right on the back of a Sweaty Keg now. Anything else happening? I've been P8. A little bit of a battle for P9 between C Trickle and Sayrexic. That one not yet resolved. James Harben just trying to keep Ice Chand at bay as well for that P12 spot. So every point matters for these guys, I guess, because there is a fierce midfield battle going on in the championship at the minute. I think, what was it, from 5th to 10th is separated by like 10 points, something like that. There's not a lot in it, it's very close. So yeah, not a lot in it at all. As you see then, myself and TC Idol very close between us now. I've got a little bit of a penalty to lose, and it was proving difficult to serve penalties here. They weren't burning off as quickly as I'd like, so you are able to go offline and serve them. Meanwhile, as you can see at the top, Mental Nev and Sweaty Keg very close between these two guys. Not easy to pass here at Laguna Seca, but there are certain places you can do that. Super then with a definite pace advantage at this stage in the race. Dave's tyres do go off a lot quicker than the Supra's does. Is he going to be able to get that move made pretty soon? He's not able to get it made here. He just poked his nose down the middle. Dave has to, oh my word, what happens there? Let's go on board with Mental Nev actually for a second. See, there's brake markers scattered all over the track. Someone's binned the brake marker for the last corner, and that just means that Dave's just outbroke himself. Is that going to help me or TC Idol out? Not too sure if it will, you know. I'm too far back really to get any slipstream, and I've just got TC Idol all over me. Looking like he's going to be making a move any minute really. Peugeot's just going to have such a pace advantage at this stage in the race. TC Idle at the minute is my direct championship competitor. He's third, I'm fourth. So I really could do without dropping points to him. But he took a bit more of a gamble on his strategy, I guess, than I did. I think I went with the relatively safe option compared to TC Idle. He knew he'd have a big pit loss and he'd have to fight through the field. So he's doing that. He's now piling on the pressure. He pokes her nose out. I'm just going to go a little bit deep again, test the GTRs off-road. That's the only time I've done that this race. And I was absolutely kicking myself there for dropping an obvious potential defensive opportunity. 5 minutes left to go though, so don't get me wrong, it would have been hard to keep the Peugeot at bay for that long, and I did have that penalty to serve, but even though silly mistake to make, I was kicking myself. Mental Nev right at the top of the field now then, he's got clear track ahead of him. Sweaty Keg. P2 still a really good result though for Sweaty Keg, don't forget. Pre-race, I don't think he had very high hopes for the Aston Martin. We'll find out what he thought about this after the race. He's one of the drivers that's going to be joining us for the press conference afterwards. Another one that will be there is TC Idle. We'll also hear from him about the lap that we all saw before. And myself, I obviously give the press conferences, and another person we'll hear from today is Marshall. So stick around to hear his thoughts on the race. Rowdy Burns then trying to put the pressure on Marshall for that P5 spot. Marshall's held it quite nicely, but Rowdy Burns with, I think, fresher tyres at this stage. These tyres are only 5 or 6 laps old. Will have an advantage. Is Marshall going to put up a fight against the dishwasher? I think he's just left the door open there for him to go through. So Marshall down to P6. I don't think he put up too much of a fight. Rowdy Burns P5 for him, but he's got a definite tyre advantage at this stage of the race. Surfer Ev then P7 for Surfer, so he's had a great recovery race. He'll be happy with that, I think. Don't forget he was one of the guys that was down and out. C Trickle, same for C Trickle, who's now starting to come under pressure from SimFx. I think just about holding off the Viper. Ibwen, the other Viper driver, just about hanging in there in the top 10 as well. Ice Chand P11, Jihad P12. Infinity Decals now off the bottom of the grid. James Harman had to retire his car from the race. Leaping back up to the top of the field, the top 4 miles ahead of everyone else then. So we've got Mental Nev, we've got Sweaty Keg, we've got TC Idle, and then we've got myself in P4. Rowdy Burns is behind me, but quite a way. I think it was about 20 seconds at this point because of the extra pit stop that he has made. Nice little battle brewing here between Ice Chand and Jihad. Jihad was obviously in the Subaru, as you can see in big bold letters on the dashboard. McLaren's probably a little bit better in top end, but if the Subaru's got the slipstream which it has going down the straight, you can probably get very close to Chandler braking into what is turn 2. Subaru quite late on the brakes. It's gonna go for the later apex into the second part of this corner. Gets on the inside. The McLaren defends though. He's got the inside line. Does the McLaren back out of that? I think he does. Yes, the McLaren's backed out. And that's the Subaru then up to P11. We're not far away from the end of this race now. Probably on the last lap for some drivers. Right, some of us are gonna have to do just another one. Drivers battling out for position a little bit further up the grid then is C Trickle and SimFx. SimFx who's setting his personal best sector times of the race so far. Quite impressive to say we're on the last lap. And the number 77 car really piling the pressure on the number 46 up ahead. So the Viper, like I say, I think I sort of hinted that earlier on, the Viper did seem to go quite well around here. The Hyundai wasn't without its struggles. It did just seem to have a bit of an understeer issue, but does just seem to have the upper hand on the Viper at this particular moment in time. It's ahead of both of them for now. So yellow flags are out. I'm going to assume that's for a spinning Toro Morto. We'll see as we go up the hill. car backwards. It is, because the next car up is Surf Rev and he's past whatever that is. So Surf Rev quite close to Marshall still. You remember just from the last clip, those two were fighting it out. We have now hit the 50-minute mark, so I think the first driver to cross the line is going to be Rowdy Burns, is it? Has he run out of fuel? Oh, he just gets ahead of Marshall. That was really close. Has he run out of fuel? Let's listen to this. He has. He's out of fuel. So Marshall then. Gonna see that. Is he gonna get it? Is he gonna get it? Oh, that was close on the line, but Rowdy Burns just hit that Surf Rev, finishing P7. C Trickles going to just about edge CJW-Racing for P8, but very close on the line between these guys. So P8 is going to go to the Hyundai. CJW-Racing's going to get P9. Iburden's just going to scrape P10 as well. Gee, after that battle with Chan's going to just about get P11, I think. Chand, and then not far behind these guys is going to be the top four drivers. The top four drivers just got around in time to set another lap, so I'll come back to those guys in just a second. But yeah, Jihad P11, Ice Chan P12, Mental Lev just about to take the last corner for the 34th time of asking. Right, he's going to bring it home for an absolutely solid Laguna Seca for the Toyota Supra, so that's going to improve his championship position. Sweaty Keg P2 for him. TC Idol, great podium for TC Idol, and then myself P4. Right, I'm joined by TC Idol, aka Darren, aka the Peugeot FF Maestro. So Darren's joined us to talk about his race. So how did it go for you at Laguna Seca?
It was good. The fight back was good. I backed off during the first stint, but then I sort of like got my act together, and after the first stint, I went for it. Started catching you guys up, but yeah, enjoyed it, mate. From 10th to 3rd, it wasn't too bad. Worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I remember you specifically coming up to the back end of my car with about 5 minutes left to go, and there was no defending to that Peugeot at all. It's an absolute beast in a straight line, that thing. But
yeah, I could see you. I could see Sweaty Keg. Then I could see Nev in the distance. I thought,
yeah,
I've got a bit of a chance here. So the gap was falling and falling and falling, and then I think there's 2 from the end. My tyres started going off, so I was getting to the back of Sweaty Keg quite quick, and come the final lap, I think it was 0.9.
Yeah.
So it's 2.2 between first and third, and then obviously you were 3.3 behind me. So it was close. It's a close race, and it was enjoyable.
Yeah. So that's what was that your second podium of the season so far?
Yes, yeah. Second podium.
And,
I want that win. I make it for that win.
Well, you've got some good opportunities in that car, mate. In Group 4 form, there's not much that can touch it, and you handle it really well as well. I mean, I know I had dead tyres at the end of that race, but obviously you'd have been suffering from the same thing. So no, you did really well that time round, mate. And I'm sure the win, if not like very soon, it's coming. It's on the way.
Yeah, the third stint killed the tyres. I was pushing way too hard. If I took it a little bit easy, maybe I would have had a chance to battle with Nev come the last lap, but they were too gone.
Yeah. So obviously something that the people watching the video will be seeing on the screens is the replay of the tribute lap that we did before. So I'm not going to say too much about it. I know you were the one that orchestrated everything, so I'm just going to let you talk about the reasoning behind it, and obviously what it means as well.
Graham99 Phil he's become a good friend of mine. Found out yesterday that the previous night his sister sadly passed away. I don't know, at the start of the race my head wasn't in the right place. You know, I feel for the guy. I've got so much respect for the guy, and for what we done last night. I mean, I thank you all, and I hope that puts a bit of a smile on his face seeing that. He really does deserve it. I mean, Surfer Ev, he likes Phil as well. He's a funny guy, and I mean, out of the racing community, I've got friends, but Phil's one of them close friends of mine, and it's good, and I just feel his pain in a minute.
Yeah, it's really sad news what we heard as well, and I think we were all a little bit shocked when you told us the news.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
just want to do something for him, you know. It's the least we could do, and we've done it, and I just appreciate it.
Yeah, I know absolutely none of the boys had any. I mean, we were running late that night anyway without anything else, but that was the last thing that anyone was even considering sort of dropping. Yeah. So no, credit to everyone.
2 seasons of Infinity as well. He was my teammate from the beginning. We didn't know each other at the beginning, and then we just grew into good friends, mate. You know. He couldn't do season 3 due to other commitments. But yeah, he's well liked within the racing community.
Yeah, he's a good bloke. I think I've had the odd chat with him about the GTTCC before now, and we spoke about different things. Don't get me wrong, I won't ever classify to be necessarily anyone's friend that I'm not that close with, but he's always struck me as a really nice guy. Definitely got himself involved in things and has got a lot of respect from a lot of people as well. You know, obviously me and you included. So, you know, from me as well, thanks for organising that. I know it couldn't have been easy for you leading the field along for that slow lap. I know you said some things along the way as well, which obviously we won't talk about here. But no, appreciate that, mate. And yeah, better. You know, good luck for future races. I'm sure you'll absolutely crash it.
Monza a struggle. Monza's just a big struggle.
I am looking forward to Monza. I cannot wait. The one track that my car will be good at.
I know, power straights.
Can't wait.
About power cars that race, but you know,
can't wait.
You see me in the distance.
I'll push. I'll pay you. I'll pay you $5 to knock Nev off the track, mate. I'll extend the same offer to you that I did to everyone else.
I won't be surprised if I get lapped.
You won't. You taught yourself down. Right. I will let you get on with your day, mate. Appreciate you jumping on. Thanks for organising last night. And yeah, Phil, we're thinking of you, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.
Cheers, mate. So you joined me at the drivers' press conference post-race. So we're joined today by Marshall, James Harben and Sweaty Keg. So each driver's going to give us their thoughts on the race and what they're looking forward to for the next time round. We'll start with Marshall, driving the Subaru. Marshall, just interested really in how you feel your race went in terms of strategy, how it went versus how you thought it might have gone pre-race. And obviously then we'll talk about next week as well. So yeah, if you just let me know how you think that one went.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting for much really. Being off my recent races, the pace wasn't there, but we got a good start. Got hampered a little bit because we couldn't go anywhere because the grid is so tight. But following the soft stint that we did, we managed to get back onto the bumper. The tyres did fall off a little bit. Then we got a medium stint, which was okay. We managed to keep ourselves up into the top 5, 6. And we ended up finishing in about 6th place, I think it was. So all in all, it was a decent race.
Yeah, the Subaru actually did seem to have good pace there. It's always a car that starts really well, and I know you were one of 2 cars that started on the soft tyre, so you did have that. You did have that tyre advantage at the start, but I think part of it was you got stuck behind a Peugeot for a while, and that's going to kill your tyres no matter what. These damn Frenchies. Regarding Monza, we got that one coming up. Subaru Group 3 car. How do you think that's going to fare there? Typically a car that favours high power cars.
Apart from suffering from a bit of a top end speed compared to the other cars, we should be okay come to the end of the race if we can go in a slipstream with other people and do a bit of fuel saving maybe. Fingers crossed it all goes well.
Good stuff. Right, well, I'll leave you be. Thank you very much for your time today, and good luck for next week.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. So over to yourself then, Dave. Driving the Aston Martin today, I know you had some worries about going into the race. We were in a couple of test sessions together. Again, I'm just sort of curious on how you think that went versus the test sessions we did. And could you have done anything differently that race? Because I know you had some battling towards the end as well.
No, it went very well in the race compared to testing. Couldn't have asked for any more from it, to be fair. And because I were expecting to be sort of like 5th, 6th maybe. But yeah, and I don't think there's any more that I could have got out of it at all.
Yeah, I know you got out ahead quite early. You sort of benefited from a good start versus an FF, Peugeot and a Toyota that didn't get off the line as well as it normally would do. And you're sort of the master of getting out in front and controlling the pace. So I think that definitely helped you there as well. Go on, sorry.
No, it's all go on.
In terms of Monza, I was going to just sort of comment on the fact that you got a big V12 beast going on there, and do you think that's going to be a good car for Monza?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good car. When it's full chat, the fuel may become an issue, but yeah, I'm hoping for a good run. Hopefully, I can challenge Nev and make him work for his championship a little bit.
Yeah, in terms of the championship, there's not really much between you guys, is there?
No, there's not much. It's just a bit of ebb and flow between us, isn't it? Like, you know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the tables. I keep finding gifs of crayons instead, and I can't find the table. But yeah, there's not. I distinctly remember it being clear. Here we go. So I know I will mention this in the commentary in a minute, but following this race, Nev's 86 points, you're 82, so there's 4 in it. We've got Monza coming up, Kyoto, Le Mans, and then Nürburgring. So at exactly the halfway point in the championship, you're only 4 points adrift of Nev, who has shown brilliant pace. So again, there's, the title is there for you to grab if you just get some good results in.
It is, like, just got to keep pushing. Just hope that we can get a couple of wins, maybe, or just a couple of better results than Nev, just to keep it interesting.
Told you a fiver will smash him off. Right, Mr. Harbour.
In a pack of what? Pickled onion monster munch as well.
Oh mate, I'll take them off your hands definitely. Mr. Harbour, over to yourself. I know you did have some struggles today, especially in the car. So, just from your perspective, how was it? I guess.
Yeah, it weren't good. Didn't think it were going to be. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the track or my car at that track. Just didn't. Yeah, I sort of expected it not to go well. It was sort of the one I was looking at, thinking, yeah, I'm going to struggle here. Which I did, but I say if that's my bad one and I've got it out at way, all the better. But yeah, it's still close. Yeah, the top still. Yeah, I think 5th after this week. Which, well, I lost the position for a really bad result, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, you're a solid 5th. Solid 5th. 7 points adrift of 4th. And 9 points ahead of 6th place as well. So, yeah, you do it at the halfway point.
Yeah, we're halfway. So, yeah, I'd have taken it before. So I think the Corvette will should be stronger at some of the tracks coming up. So hopefully we can get a few more decent results. And yeah. It's been a good season so far. It's been very up and down. There's been a lot of people challenging. We haven't really got that. Obviously, we've got Dave and Nev at the front that seem to be the guys to beat. But after that, it seems to be anyone's, which is really interesting. Really makes it really good.
And obviously, your car's tipped to be one of the stronger cars at the next track, which is Monza.
Yeah, I think it will be strong. like Dave said before, though, you got to watch the fuel. You've got to do that balance of not using too much fuel, but not sort of getting out of the tow basically, and the train of cars. Get dropped, you're gonna have more of an issue. But it's one of them. We'll see what happens. We'll turn up and see how we do. So you never know. Corner 1.
Yeah, I was going to mention turn 1 at Monza, but I thought I'll leave that for the video next week. No, so the teams are on the way now to Monza. The drivers are getting their race prep in ahead of that one, so obviously they'll be testing in the week and everyone will be getting themselves ready. Any sort of pre-race preparations that you'll be looking to do before that one? 7 kilos of pizza, anything like that?
Some cans of cheese whiz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get them from the sponsors, don't you?
A good rest. A good rest. It should be fun. It should be a decent race, I can imagine. Well, not that we've not had a decent race this season.
Yeah, they've all been pretty good.
Yeah, and it's good group that we've got. All clean, not many issues at all really to report, and that's always a good thing.
Good stuff. Right, well, thank you very much for joining me today, gentlemen. Really appreciate your time.
No problem.
Best of luck in your preparations. James, just as we see that, I see you spinning off. That is your car, isn't it? Number 27.
There's only me. So
yeah, there is. Oh, there is. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, right at the end, I caught you binning it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. There's more than one. There were more channels.
But yeah, thanks for dropping by and watching the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, all that sort of good stuff. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And we'll see you next week at Monza. Thank you, and bye bye.